Hi, Manu.
Hey Mark,
I'm gonna try turning the
sorry,
video
I'm a
on, but
couple minutes late.
I'm gonna try and turn my video on, but it may blue screen my machine because apparently my webcam doesn't like a Windows hypervisor. Let's see what happens. My picture show up.
Oh, there you are.
You can see me?
Oh, I can see. No, I can see your background,
Background.
I guess.
Yeah, you can see me. Okay, forget
That's
it.
very cool. It's
No,
very,
it's
very
actually
weird.
very scary to turn on my camera and then I disappear and then people wonder where I am until my machine decides to reboot and I can
Yeah,
restart
you have
everything.
existential questions. Do I exist? Uh,
No. Why does
no, you don't.
Microsoft exist if it can't fix bugs?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, let's see. We're gonna give people a couple of minutes. I sent you an intro email to a colleague. Um,
Yes, I saw that. Thank you.
someone you may want to talk to.
Yeah, I
Okay.
appreciate that. Thank you, Mark.
Um, yeah. So, uh, let's see. I just pinged Dan, because the TAC is basically sitting on their hands and like 2 weeks since we submitted the gateway and proxy governance pattern. uh, for publication, and still no movement. So hopefully, with the extra ping, and like I mentioned a couple of times already, it just keeps falling off. And yeah, we missed yesterday's trustworthy meeting, and that kind of worries me because I'm going to be attending next week's meeting, and then I need to disappear for a couple of weeks.
So Hank
So.
and Michael couldn't make it.
Yeah, and maybe you can also help. Like it needs to get over the line before the submission deadline. I would like it to be submitted before the end of the month, personally.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean my bandwidth is as you can imagine, super tight. If there's some just editing or something I can do, but if it's substance,
oh,
I'm not going to be at the ATF, and I'm not,
oh, you're not going. Okay.
I'm not going. Yeah, no.
Well, maybe if you have a break, take a look through the latest draft, see if you can comment on anything or propose any additional content that would be useful. But the actual job of putting it into uh, GitHub and rendering it and submitting it, I believe Michael Richardson can do.
Great.
Okay, so 4 minutes passed. We're just gonna jump into this. Let's see. Hi, Ritika. So what I'm gonna do as usual is I'm going to um, share my screen.
Hi both. Sorry for jumping in late.
Oh no, you're not late. Certainly not compared to everybody else. All right, so let's see. These are going to be our meeting notes, and I'm going to stick the link in the chat so you can add yourselves. And yeah, I'm not showing my video because my webcam isn't working well. Okay, so let's see. So what we're doing today is we um, made the following comments on the verifier governance pattern last time. And we're going to go over them and see if we can maybe do a change and submit a pull request into, or maybe a set of commits to try and fix these issues. So let's take them by one. So an organization needs to establish trust in the verifier service. Okay. All right. So this will be specific to organization. The ceremony to establish trust in computing and verifier. Again, these are the comments made last week. We can choose how to treat them. Verifier tenant signing keys are what make the trust anchor for confidential computing. Makes sense. The trust anchor for confidential computing may have to be distinct from the trust anchor for workload identity. That's because when we're formulating control objectives for trustworthy workload identity, effectively the trust anchor separation for assessing workloads versus issuing identity to workloads may in fact have to be distinct. I believe that's a should, not a must, but this is a should that the verifier capability providers need to be aware of, that if an organization has a requirement for that sort of thing, they may not be able to deploy a certain verifier that doesn't have that functionality. So that should be made clear. Uh, trust and reference values and endorsements. How can that be established? So we should probably talk into that and document how verifier instance can be securely provisioned and whatever replica may need to be independently provisioned with one of those companies. I don't even know if that. Okay, we'll see. This was mentioned, but we'll have to see how much we can go. So any particular, maybe easy to hard, how we can do this?
I'm the first time I'm diving in here, and so I'm what does it that what do you mean by trust anchor? It's the
Root of trust. Trust anchor is effectively
uh,
root of trust. So root of trust for identity of a workload may have to be different from the root of trust for inspection of the evidence of the workload.
so what you mean is the person who pushes the workload, for instance, is different from
No, no,
the
no, no. So attestation results from the verifier are signed.
okay. So
That signature may not be enough to establish workload identity because an identity provider may have to be a different trust anchor from the verified trust anchor or root of trust.
from the verified trust anchor, the identity provider of what? Of
Of
the
the workload identity. So we may have a regulatory requirement saying that we have our identity system. Identity is what issues credentials like certificates, whatever, signed JOTs to workloads.
yeah.
And the entity, the identity provider that signs these credentials
Yeah.
cannot be the same as the certificate that signs attestation results from the verifier.
It has to be a different
It
set
may
of
have to
keys.
be, yes.
Yes, okay. So living in different systems,
Isolated, like separate. Yeah,
but you still need, as you in the other sentences that were on that summary, you still need a federation of trust between those different parties because they all need
basically.
to be able to trust each other.
Uh, yes,
So
of course. So the identity provider, when it examines attestation results, absolutely needs to trust the verifier
right.
or statements
Okay.
made by the verifier.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes
we
sense.
just need to. Okay, so in the structure of this document, let's again quickly review. So the context is not going to change. The problem is really not going to change. You can quickly eyeball it. And then as part of the problem, we simply specify the number of roles and assets that we care about. We may need to revisit them.
Can you put the link of this document in
Yeah,
the chat?
absolutely.
Because
Yeah. That's in the consortium's GitHub.
okay.
So you can click on that.
Thank you.
And we'll probably be trying to make some edits to it. Right. So the assets, verifier service reference values, verifier tenant secrets, verifier tenant signing keys. Right. That's the root of trust for the verifier.
Got it. Tenant. What is tenant?
So the verifier service is presumed to be multi-tenant. So like Microsoft attestation service.
Okay.
Right. And then JP Morgan would be a tenant of that service.
I see. Okay.
And
I get it.
so the statements signed by Bank of America in the same
So it's
verifier service
different keys for different
are
tenants.
different.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Of course. Of course.
Right. And then we have our own reference values.
Yes, you need a supply chain for those reference. I mean,
I
a
think this
chain
is
of trust.
duplicated. I think this one is meant to send endorsement.
Yeah, and one is optional, the other one is no. So
No, but they're copy and paste.
I understand. I do see. I see you have different values for the last column. So indeed, there must be different.
Yeah, so no, we'll need to change them. So this is clearly some kind of a typo that missed all previous reviews. So who knows how that happened? Okay. So let's see. So perhaps do this trust and reference values and endorsement. How trust and reference values and endorsements can be established. So we should probably start by modifying that they're reference values and endorsements. And then we should say that reference values and associated signing keys, right? So somebody signs the reference value. Somebody tells you, Yeah, these or so, how can you verify trust reference values? Well, it needs to trust effectively the reference value provider or an endorsement provider.
Correct.
And we should somehow mention the mechanism by which such trust is established. So that's also an asset in a way. So we can let's make a first change. So we're going to modify this to endorsement. Expected. Because this is all RATS architecture. We should say nothing about informally. Because that's all in the RATS architecture. And the question requires encryption. I would imagine yes on both, actually. Or maybe optional on both. Okay.
I think I mean, in all conversations we're having, it's necessary because you always have in any business supply chain, and this is one of them, right? When you endorsement values, reference values, all of that is business, commercial supply chain. So you do want confidentiality. You don't want, just the fact that you go and request information from an endorser or, the supplier of the reference values leaks information. So I think all of that traffic, all of that should be encrypted.
So this is okay. So
Or maybe I'm misunderstanding the level at
so
which this is.
optional means okay. So when we talk about secrets, right? So signing keys, encryption keys, the answer is unequivocal yes. You cannot have a plain text key and call it a secret.
Of course, yeah.
Right? When it comes to endorsements and reference values, we may decide, in our enterprise, we operate, in some sort of a public fashion, right? So it's assured in the sense that we recommend it, but, you may void your warranty, so to say, if you peel the
Okay.
sticker.
Yeah, that's fair
Right?
enough.
So,
I think I used actually the word should in my sentence, so I agree with you. Yeah.
yeah.
Best
So,
practice would be to encrypt everything. Yeah.
right. And in fact, I think this needs to be so verify tenant assessment policy for evidence. I think we're just keeping it in line with the RATS terminology. And so again, assessment policy is still optional for the same reason, right? Like, yeah, you should, but like we're not going to make it a must because I can see possibilities where for some reason.
Yeah, there should be actually some policies that are publicly visible because you want transparency on how the
Yeah.
system is making
So
decisions.
same with reference values and endorsements. It's like
I think it's different. Endorsement maybe, but reference values because they're specific for the workload that you run. I think that leaks information. Reference values, endorsements maybe okay public, but still that leaks information about what machine you're
right. So
running
you
on.
can remember in the end we have the should versus must clarification section.
Yeah.
We can stress saying be very, very careful if you're not going to do this
Yeah, that's good.
for these reasons.
I'm just sharing my thoughts in real time here, but I
Yeah,
agree
yeah,
with
yeah.
you overall.
Absolutely. Okay. So then so we can do that. And let's see. So trust and verifier. Verify service contact and station, verify services in trustworthy state, current policy. So this is just forces. This is it doesn't say anything about how to solve it. So we're talking about a bit of performance, confidential integrity, system of record. So that's all good. Now, under solution, we can do additional things. So trust and verifier established via the following mechanisms. So let's see. Document trust and reference values can be established. I mean, we can, you know, let's see if we can say, at least for that one, the verifiers must be properly administered in a secure configuration on a system properly administered by the VSO. So that's the solution. The verifier service must regularly obtain most recent reference values and endorsement. Let's not say endorser identities, endorsements from the vendors, from the suppliers. The verifier service must be executing the most current policies of all of its tenants. And the tester should know which verifier tenant content can authenticate. So we could put additional information in here. So
So should the verifier be itself verifiable? Shouldn't we say that the code that makes the verification should itself be verifiable?
well,
Especially if you're using a verifier that is not, if you're doing your own verification, then whatever, it's the same trust boundary. But if you're using a third-party verifier service, shouldn't that verifier itself be verified?
yeah.
Otherwise, how do you rely on the output?
Yeah, okay, so let's talk about this. So this is what I'm adding. And service of the above, the full consideration supply. So we made the high level list. Right? So we can say let's see, what can we say? We can say that um, um, what I'm going for is let's first talk about initial provisioning, maybe.
Of what? Of the verifier?
Of the verifier service,
Yeah.
right? Maybe we can talk about initial provisioning of the verifier service. Initial provisioning of the verifier tenant. Then we can say subsequent maintenance.
Yeah, you're going very granular there. I like it.
Well,
Yeah, it's indeed all the steps that need to be done right. Otherwise, you don't know.
yes. Okay, so let's go maybe service and tenant. Maybe we can combine them. It's ultimately.
Yeah. Yeah, because it has the same chain of authority, right? It's probably the same people, the same org that's putting that together.
Yeah. What are you? Why is it not letting me? Okay, so it's just the markup requires you to do these things. Okay, so the establish the expected uh, code and configuration of both and make that available for inspection or something like this.
Yeah.
We can subsequently edit this. Follow the document and follow. Yeah. Ceremonies. Ceremonies are usually things involving people, organizations. Oh, that's the other thing. Create and deploy. Create the signing and encryption keys for both verifier service and fire tenant. Document and provisioning ceremonies for both verifier service and verifier tenant, including all. So create. Oh, the other one, establish the roots of trust.
When you say establish the roots of trust, very concretely, what do you have in mind there?
The roots of trust for
Is it
endorsements.
setting up an HSM or no, physically or practically, what is the action
Well, the
there?
roots of trust basically saying we will trust these endorsements, these reference values.
I see. So it's basically just creating the trusted list of public keys that you're gonna trust.
Values, appraisal, policies for evidence,
Yeah.
and all other uh, and all other uh, aspects requiring trust.
Yep.
Okay, signing encryption keys for both verifier service and verifier tenant. Document full provisioning ceremonies for verifier, including all code configuration, roots of trust, and keys. Right?
Yeah.
Finally, deploy all um, all reference values, endorsements, appraisal, policies, matching those expectations, those roots of trust, the established roots of trust. So something like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. And so in your mind, all of those things are signed with keys that each one of the orgs that publish those things are.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Establish and publish, I guess. Establish and publish. And publish. So something like that. Well, we can do another pass. I just want to make sure I get all the thoughts on paper first.
Yeah, no, this is great.
Okay, subsequent maintenance of verifier service. Okay, so all changes to verifier service and tenant code configuration, roots of trust, endorsements, reference values, must be clearly documented, published,
It must be auditable, right? It's really the audit and the
and
and
auditable.
and signed, temper proof, all that good stuff, because
Yeah.
you just go and put it in a database, it doesn't do much. And cryptographically verifiable, I would say.
So something like that. Maybe roots of trust should specifically be called out.
Why?
Well, because I think if somebody changes roots of trust from underneath me, I may actually
Everything goes away. Yeah. Everything goes.
any changes
Yeah,
to the
that's the PKI.
verifier roots of trust must be approved by all interested parties. Ahead of time. Okay. So that's maybe sufficient. I mean, we can always go and make more changes.
Yeah, it's nice to see it broken down in so many pieces and realizing everything that needs to go right.
Yeah,
This stuff to work.
that's what we were missing before. Okay,
Yeah.
so initial provisioning and subsequent changes. So we actually have only 1 and 2.
Is there
Now,
anything that needs to be said for revocations or terminations of things? I'm
well,
spitballing. I just don't know because we have the initial, the subsequent, the maintenance. I'm just wondering if there's a end of life for any of these things that need to be.
yeah. 2. Why did it change to? Oh, Jesus Christ! It renumbered things. 3, 4. Okay. We talked about availability, protecting assets, and the correct and current policies are applied all time. So, okay, I would add 3 here. So the 3 here would be promptly notify all affected parties of any breach covered, newly discovered vulnerability, key. I mean, whatever. Like, what else can I say there?
Well, revoked material,
Discovered vulnerability, revoked key material. So we should also talk about maintaining tamper-proof logs of all material changes.
Yeah.
So that may be sufficient. I mean, we can do another review because this is going to be just a pull request.
There's a lot already.
Yep. Okay, let's take a look at the list. So ceremonies to establish trust and see verifier. So I think we kind of covered that. Verifier tenant signing keys are, as we say, what makes, let's see. for confidential computing. Oh, we need to talk about trust anchor separation. Okay. So that needs to, so every solution needs to map to, so system of record consideration, confidential integrity, integrity, performance, trust, and verifier. We may need to add another. So we may say, should we say something about the root of trust separation? Or is that,
I think so, but
that
if
may be actually, that probably goes more under workload identity. Because whatever verifier does, we can say, let's say, you, whatever signs your attestation results and whatever signs your credentials, you know, may not be the same. And like, I can deploy a verifier with its own root of trust. It's a matter of how I use its results, whether the two roots of trust are separate or the same. So I would actually not put it in here.
But I thought you said they have to be different, so we should
Well,
put.
but that's a workload identity issue. Maybe you're not using it for workload identity at all,
Okay.
right? Because like this, it's kind of a separation of concern type of thing.
Okay.
So the thing about remember how we talked about optional? So that's under 3. So let's see what solution says for 3. Protect, verify assets while evidence attestation results.
I'm surprised that you lumped together confidentiality and integrity. Why?
Where?
If you go back up, you were in the yeah, there, the highlight. Confidentiality and integrity. Why? I mean, confidentiality may be optional in some situations, but integrity, I would feel it has to be cryptographic integrity throughout, right?
Yeah, forces is very succinct. Let's go into solutions and say what it actually says about that.
Okay.
So the solution is to protect verifier assets as well as evidence and attestation results. This entails protect verifier tenant policies. Confidentiality should be required. Already
I
talked
see.
about
I
that.
see. I see. And
Integrity
then you have
must be
different. Got
maintained.
it. Got it.
Appropriate lifecycle management of verifier attaining tenant signing encryption keys as well as tamper-proof auditable change logs must be maintained.
Yeah.
Verifier tenants should be allowed to bring their own keys for signing issued credentials for signing attestation results. So now we're adding reference and endorsements to confidentiality protections.
Yeah. So we are in that integrity section. So should we mention there that the integrity of the code in at runtime of the verifier itself should the
Well,
integrity.
it's under code.
So you have it already? You
Well, I mean,
basically protected verifier assets. That's what you.
yeah.
Okay. Okay,
So
but
that
it doesn't say that again, I'm implying that the verifier should run in a T. To me, the idea of having a verifier that is less verified than what it verifies doesn't make any sense. But
okay, say that again.
so because we're talking about the integrity of all the things that the verifier is handling, I think we should also talk about the integrity of the code at runtime when it's making the decisions. So that the essentially hinting that the verifier itself needs to run in a T if it is there to verify other T's. So for me, that was the big aha of when we design our system, is that it just doesn't make any sense to have a super secure environment that is attesting its integrity and its capabilities, and then have a verifier that is of lesser quality. So somehow I think the code in use, or the needs to be verifiable. The
Right.
runtime of the verifier runtime.
So
So it's not just the
a
verifier
verifier
asset.
service software and verifier tenant. Verifier service software is one of the assets.
Yeah, but you see what I mean, right? Is that it should be, it's one thing to know that you have a signature on the piece of software, when it gets compiled and all that. It's a different thing to know that this is the actual executable that's running in the verifier.
Yeah. So when you talk about isolation of the verifier service, right, to make sure that it code remains
Yeah,
safe from tampering at runtime. So basically what we can say here, this is when it renumbers.
right. So it's isolation and verifiability, right?
Ensure runtime isolation of verifier service code and configuration by
Attestation, yes.
means physical isolation
Okay.
um, of the service hosting, the verifier service running.
Well, I don't know if the physical isolation is critical. I think it's really the cryptographic isolation and the verifiability of the executable.
Well, I mean, HSMs run with physical isolation in cages.
Yeah, I mean, but this is, did you put should, or no? You haven't put the verb yet. So I think
Uh,
it's optional. The physical isolation is optional, but they need to.
well, I mean, the all available means we don't know what it is going to be, but we know that you need to do something.
Okay.
So I don't know. May um,
I mean, you're not going to run a verifier on an HSM, are you?
I mean, ideally I would put verifiers in cages.
Yes, I agree with that, but
Okay,
not in an HSM.
not in an HSM. No,
I
I
see,
mean
I see,
it's
I see. Okay, so
but it's the
I
same
like it.
class of mission critical. You
I
know.
like it. Yes, I like it. I hear you. Ideally, indeed, the physical security of the verification infrastructure is as we know, until the T's can physically protect themselves, we need physical security around the verification infrastructure. Yeah, ideally.
Okay. So sure. Running verifier service inside the trusted execution environment, maintaining runtime integrity. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, it's good enough. And I like that you put available means,
The
because indeed, yeah.
the actual mechanism for achieving this must be documented and communicated to verifier tenant. Something like that.
Yeah. And to relying parties too, no?
Wait. I put this in the wrong place. Put this in the wrong place. This is not under 3. This probably subsequent maintenance. Maybe it's here.
So that's an initial.
Well, yeah.
Yes, it has to run from the start. Yes.
Yep.
Correct.
All right, I think.
In fact, yeah, it's very interesting because the bootstrap problem of the verification infrastructure is a very interesting one. How do you start your entire chain of trust? And it really starts with the initial verifier of all of the verifiers. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll still have a few more minutes. We could put additional things on it, or sometimes I like to sleep on it and like reread it in the next like a day.
So I'm sorry. It's the first time I joined this meeting. Do you have a specific purpose for that document or a specific timeline that you wanted to publish it somewhere?
No, there is not like immediate rush,
Okay.
but we noticed some things, and again, I actually told the TAC that the next 3 meetings I'm going to miss.
Okay.
Is for various, like I'm going to the ATF, I'm taking some time off, so I may need to put this off. Like I do not know if I'm ready to put the pull request in today, but I wanted to do the work and at least keep some history.
Yeah. And thank you for making it so explicit in the TAC presentation, the separation of roots of trust. You got me worried a little bit, but now I'm not worried because we generate fresh keys everywhere, so everything is inherently separated.
Right.
So I was worried indeed that there was that you were sending me a message that I missed something in our architecture, but I don't think we do. So
no, I don't think you do.
Cool. No, this is great, and to see it outlined like this, I'm having discussions with people in software supply chain and chip supply chains, and this concept of having to have an entire ecosystem of people who have to do everything right, manage all their keys and their root of trust and their ceremonies to sign everything right and revoke and communicate to everybody else everything that went wrong when it goes wrong, is a massive problem. And it's basically all the trust dependencies when you have everybody doing their own things, which is, you outline here very nicely, indeed, all the things that need to go right, which to me is the yet another proof point that you need to automate all that. All of this needs to be automated, because if you have humans managing this, then you're going to end up with silent failures along supply chain. And this is a supply chain, right? The attestation verification process itself is a series of a mesh of supply chains for the endorsement, the values, the reference values, the attestation evidence. All of that is, you need to stitch together the whole thing. And so it's a fascinating problem. We live in very interesting times.
Well, but also I think look, when I did some work for the bank for figuring out how to create a standard for operational runbooks for our services.
Yeah.
I went to avionics. I went and downloaded like Airbus emergency manuals.
Yes.
Like how do you do it? Because again, if it's something is mission critical and you only have seconds to react for like a 5-9 service, you don't have time to improvise.
That's right.
So you need to have these processes documented, and they have to be documented in a way that is very, very easy to follow if you're woken up at 2 a.m., right?
Yeah.
So like, but it goes beyond just methodology. It's also like the software should be designed to pre-provision access to first responders. So you don't have to spend the first hour waiting for somebody to approve access to
yes.
modify the system. So you should think all the way through. So all of that is documented. And ultimately, then people say, well, after every incident, you should review your procedures and update them. right?
Right.
So again, avionics teaches us how to do it. We actually don't need to invent it. Similarly, for this, we already know how to securely provision HSMs, also multi-tenant HSMs.
Right.
So, you know, that
Yeah,
can
but
be borrowed.
the interesting thing is that, when you say procedures, avionics and all that, I see these huge binders, right, of indeed, go to page 376 to follow the procedure step by step. But
Yeah,
with confidential computing, because we are in this confidential computing space, we have the opportunity to encode those procedures in verifiable code that can then be automated. And that to me is this combination. It is because we are the confidential computing consortium that we actually have finally the tool to automate critical procedures in a way that is inherently verifiable at the chip level.
right.
And that it's the combination of these two things. Take the avionics examples and then bring it into the confidential computing worlds and automate that thing in a way that's inherently verifiable,
Um,
which is, I think, super
uh,
interesting and opportunity.
yeah, just my mind go. You're correct. You're right. My mind just goes into things like, well, you know, we are running our verifiers on AMD, and AMD just had this huge security bug. So we need to very, very quickly, migrate all our verifier stuff to an Intel
Right.
hardware.
Yeah,
Well, you need to reestablish all the keys, you need to reestablish all the policies, you need
for
to,
sure.
right? So, I mean, it may still be a large manual.
No, exactly right. This is work in progress, of course, and but you're never finished with that automation, essentially, right? So we meet somewhere in the middle where yes, there are always going to be scenarios that you have not yet automated. So the migration from AMD to Intel because there was a bug in AMD is
Yeah,
probably something that you didn't think about, and so it's that cannot be automated. So you do need these escape, go back to the binder type scenarios. But what I find, I mean, what is very clear to me is that, and of course I'm biased, right, because that's how we approach the problem. But the opportunity of automating all this is what's really fascinating.
yeah. No, for sure.
Anyway. All right.
I think we're gonna wrap up for today. I'm gonna commit the changes.
So I'm sorry. Are you going to be gone next week? You said already? Or-
No, next week I'm here
Okay.
because I'll be at the TWI SIG meeting.
Okay.
This SIG meets every other week right
Oh,
now,
so
unless
yeah.
unless we make it weekly, in which case I would be able to attend next week.
Okay. So,
Uh,
but then next week. I'll be in San Francisco. So I'll get up at 6 a.m. for the TWI meeting, and then after that you're going to ITF and vacation, you said?
yeah.
Okay. So I'll see you next week then. Cool.
Okay,
And
sounds good.
thank you for the intro to Elizabeth. I look forward to hearing from her.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
Take care.
All right,
Have a
bye-bye.
good one. Bye.
Thanks both. Bye.
Mhm.